All right, welcome everybody to this week's showing of the GRC here on the Oval, November the 12th, 2023. As you can see, our racers have lined up and gotten ready. Tia on red, Cassie on white, Jackson on green, and Glenn on orange. Be 2-minute heat intervals, 8 heats total. Total laps up will give you your victor. We got a 2-second breakout time, so if anybody runs faster than that, they will break out and lose their lap. Also, a 1-second delay time on track buttons. We lost the sound for the track button for some reason. It used to be like a Mario jump. For some reason or another, we lost it within a week. Maybe somebody watched our live stream and they got copyrighted. I don't know. But nonetheless, we lost the Mario sound on both machines. So now it doesn't make a Mario sound when it gets double pressed. Don't make a sound at all. And I've tried updating this computer on the Oval. It didn't work. So nonetheless, when they hit the button, they have to yell track. And other than that, looks like we're about ready to go. Let me tune in here to the racers and we'll get going. All right, racers, are you ready? Watch your lights. Make sure all the sound's coming through. Everything seems good. Here we go, folks. 4 red lights drop out to green and we're going racing. Minute and 57 seconds rolling. Start here as we go to the bigger screen and we get a car to the outside here, and that's a double press of the button yet again. Like I said, this new update has really messed things up on the track meet. All right. Make sure when you hit the track button, you yell track for everybody else so they don't hit the track button. Here we go. 4 red lights drop out to green yet again. It's just going to take a little bit of time for people to get used to the new thing you got to do with this track software. As we get a car to the outside and we get then yell track. Bit of smack talk, never hurt nobody. Glenn representing the LMP Thunder Series shirt here at Lanes Raceway for all of our LMP Thunder Series racers. They were able to snag one of those shirts. This season, the guys and gals here at Lanes Raceway are going to be able to snag a 4 Crown shirt if they enter the 4 Crowns. So, in other words, if they paid $100 to get in all 4 series, whether they're in them or not, that constitutes that they're in the 4 Crowns. Essentially having a license for each one of them, whether they have the car or not. Nonetheless, all those that have done that will get themselves a 4 Crowns t-shirt. And of course, the $100 helps pay for the cost of those shirts for the guys. I get asked a lot of times, you make a lot of money doing this, and really, no, you don't get rich owning or running a slot car track. If you do it right. If you do it right, and I think that's how we do it here, you pretty much give most of your money back to the guys in one form or the other. Whether it's better gear, better TrackMate software, pinball tables, whatever the guys want or anything like that. Giving it back to the guys. In these series, a lot of times, we're spending a couple $100 on like big checks. Getting the money together at the beginning to be able to do our big banquets where we have food and stuff like that. We set up, prepare for the guys, and make a big deal. Everybody has seen us do that. And then on top of all that, we still have cash payouts in some of the series depending on if they are sponsored. So, and anytime anything is sponsored here at Lanes Raceway, of course, it's 100% payout. We don't even take any of the sponsorship money. But as you can see, Jackson, Glenn, Cassie, and T there. You can see their first laps. I'll be right back with you. All right, we have a minute and 30 seconds left before they go by green race. I want to show you guys something. Here's some early preliminaries of hang on, folks. So as you can see here, let me get that in focus here. You can kind of see there's what the shirt's going to look like. That's the front. And then this is like an example of what the back look like. So each racer will have their name, and then each one of the diamonds represents the series that they're in. And then the crown is the championship points. Now, of course, you see all of them are the same. First, 1,270 points. And then our sponsors, of course, Ohio Valley Lawn Care and Fairview IT Cup Series. But that's what the shirt's going to end up looking like for each person that's in the series. So, you know, those shirts are pretty expensive too. They end up being right at $40 a piece when it's all said and done. You know, when they pay the $100, that helps negate some of the price. And then we also plan on having a couple other shirts in development for people that walk into the store and want to purchase a shirt here at Lane's Racing. 4 red lights are off out to green, and here we go. We have a minute and 56 seconds left to go. We got Jackson there in the lead on blue lane, freshly working on his car. So just here recently was able to get his car worked on. Me and him worked on it, I think Friday. Got it up to par to be able to run with the other guys, and as we can see, it's running pretty good now, already turning 11 laps. Of course, the breakout's 2 minutes. All right, folks, I'll be right back with you. Just give me one moment. All right, folks, I'm back. I have to help a customer out there real real quick. It looks like Jackson in the lead right now with 103 total laps. He's a low man on the total pole currently. But we can see him and Glenn Burden are relatively close together there, about 49 laps on green and orange there. Minute and 44 seconds. We'll be back with you. I'm going to leave you here on the oval, just in case I'm not back in time. I'll be right back with you. All right, folks, 10 seconds and we'll be back rolling racing. Looks like we got about 240 frames dropped so far in the stream. Not too bad. Everything looks like it's holding together decently. And Jackson just brought his car in here. When we look at it, he's worried whether or not it's good enough. But so far, what I'm seeing is it's doing quite well. As we see Glenn there in second place, he's up on the high lane there on red. It looks like he's making decent work here of passing him. Now, none of these guys want to go below 2 seconds for sure. If they go below 2 seconds, you know, of course, they break out. We're seeing Jackson there around the 2.1 mark. Now, granted, the other day when he was running this car, he was on blue lane and he was really flirting with breaking out right at 2.0 something. Hear the car's gears swapping back and forth. Anytime you hear a little noise coming from the gear, just a little loose in the rear. What you want them to do, I know you can't really hear Jackson's, but his is set up really, really well, is you don't want to be able to hear them at all. And Jackson's, of course, when it goes around there, you can't even hardly tell it's on. It's just really smooth. Him and Carson have some of the smoothest cars for sure. Jackson got himself a nice little coast there off purple lane. And Jackson already turning 34 laps to the next in line 28, so he's definitely hauling the mail, folks. Seconds left to go, and it's almost like all these cars are pretty much on rails, just a occasional wreck every once in a while, but nothing too major, as we don't have a full pack here. We got about half a pack here. It looks like everybody's kind of got a little bit of breathing room in between the passing lanes here, so that's definitely good. 22 seconds left to go, and of course Jackson leading again here with 48 total laps down low. For some reason or another, looking like his car is not performing like it did at the very beginning, but he's definitely smooth. Now, whether or not that has something to do with how he's got his controller set up or the smoothness of his finger is still yet to be known, but there's nothing wrong with that car. That baby is flying. So we take a look here at the track mate. We can see an average of 53 total laps here for Jackson, turning 56 laps there on purple. can see that Glenn there on white and red turning 48 and 46 laps, a couple laps better than what Cassie has turned, but we see Cassie really fighting there. 44 total laps there on red, just 2 down from Glenn. Glenn, of course, winning the last oval race we had here. And then T there towards the bottom there, 39 laps, not too good there on red, but she's got to work on that a little bit. As we end this up here, take it back to the oval, you watch them work on their cars, we'll be right back with you. All right, folks, here we go. 4 red lights dropping out to green. We're going back racing, and yet again, we see Jackson there out in the lead, getting a little bit of a coaching from Randy Kirtley, telling him to turn down his traction control a little bit as that's choking his car out. Now we can see him running right there at the median of a 2.07. He's right on the edge there of 2-second breakout. So that's about where you want to be, really, is right there on that edge. We see T there on purple. She told me she was giving it everything she could give, but the car just ain't going to give what she wants, and that happens sometimes. Of course, Cassie, every week, getting better and better. She was flirting within 10 laps of the person above her from last week, and probably would have got it if we'd have had one more heat, as several people were having incidents wrecking. We see there on the high side, Glenn Burden turning 23 laps there, currently in second place with a median of 2.40 and a best lap of 2.366. We get another yellow flag there, and 51 seconds left to go in the race. Four red lights going to drop out to a green, and we'll be going back racing. Trying the championship section of the music here off of Epidemic Sound. Kind of like some of the music that come on there. I haven't listened to the whole playlist yet, but so far it seems pretty decent. minute and 36 seconds left to go. Talked to a customer there about this series. Young man seems to be excited, wanting to get him maybe involved in a series here at Lanes Raceway. If you are wanting to get involved in a series here at Lanes Raceway, this is the second to the last week. I believe next week, the 19th, is, of course, the last week that you can get in. I was mistaken, thinking it was this week, the 12th, but it's actually next week, because next week will be signifying our fourth race for wing car, and we had our third race for our wing car last week. We'll have our fourth Fairview IT race tonight. So next Sunday will be midpoint way for the series, and then of course, you know, we'll have to cut it, because then there won't be enough races for you to complete every one of them. So it's not that we cut it because, you know, we're mean or nothing. It's we cut it because, you know, there's a certain amount of races you have to complete in a series. And then basically, if you did get in by next week, you would have to run every single race and not miss one race weekend to be able to be competitive with these other racers that, of course, had a month and a half start on it. But yeah, it's got a good coast, Jack. Jackson asking if I've seen his coast. His car definitely does have a really good coast, especially whenever the track gets shut off. Of course, they got 10 seconds before they go back green racing. Like I said, hopefully the software and stuff maybe gets a new update. They put the bounce back in the track buttons. We're currently working on a timer system on the track to be able to cut power from the track, so when the buttons get pressed, they don't get double, triple, quadruple pressed, and the track comes back on. Everybody's like, all right, hands off the controllers and all that. We don't have to worry about all that. So we're working on that kind of stuff. But the problem is, you know, there's nothing made for this kind of slot car stuff, so it all has to be handmade, and we got to figure all that stuff out on our own. And the software, you know, of course, it's not open source, so there's no way that we can actually get in this software and manipulate it past what it allows us to do. A lot of times I've thought to myself, it'd probably be best if we just hired a programmer and programmed our own software for our tracks the way that we run them, simply because it just seems like the updates for TrackMate are few and far between, and a lot of times when they do updates, it actually makes them worse. So I know we had an old school TrackMate software that ran on Windows DOS way back in the day, and I'll tell you what, it, in my opinion, was a lot better in a lot of ways than the new stuff here today. But nonetheless, maybe they'll figure it out there at TrackMate. I don't know. I figure as niche as it is, maybe they just don't have enough money to get together to be able to make the system needed, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see for sure, and hold on. We get usually about an update, maybe 2 updates a year. And of course, right now, I think it's 9.72 is the current update. But we'll just have to wait and see. Got a minute left to go in the heat here. Jackson out in the lead, of course, with 244 laps. But Glenn Burden there, right behind him there, turning 29 this heat. He's right there on his hip. Both of them running the median of 2.2. Now Jackson running a 2.21. And there on his inside is Cassie, really wanting to get past him, but kind of keeping distance there. Of course, Glenn there up on blue lane, starting to really in a little bit. We're starting to hear a little bit of a squeal from one of the cars. That's probably from Chelsea, as we get a flag on the play. Both Glenn and Jackson getting decent coast there in the corner. And what I'm seeing here is both these guys are really, really close together. We're going to start seeing Glenn Burden come down lower on the track, and I think that's going to help quite a bit for Glenn to start catching some. As we see Glenn there right out of the gate, really fast and fresh there, trying to run his car just a little bit deeper than Jackson there. Jackson kind of holding his own there. Probably needs to be a little bit quicker off the trigger there just to stay in front. But like I said, pretty smooth as Jackson gets booted to the outside. Cassie gets him on the inside there. So we hear Glenn Burden saying that's a little bit of payback for Cassie. Cassie getting him there and scooping him. Cassie running it deep enough. She's down on purple. Has advantage for sure. Rubbin's racing. 11 seconds left to go. We are in round robin 5 of 8 currently as we get another track call button. And it looks to be Glenn Burden, and I think T just completely lit off in the backstretch. All right, we got 2 seconds left to go in this heat. And like I said, Jackson out in the lead, doing pretty good this week as he gets a nice coast yet again. All right, and as you can see, Jackson out in the lead with 54.2 on average laps, 49.4 on average for Glenn Burden. We see Glenn Burden there turning 1 lap less than Jackson on blue, but up high, we see Glenn able to turn 51 laps to Jackson's 49. Whether or not these are wreck incursions or not is yet to be known. But now that we see Glenn Burden, he's going to be moving down low. We'll see how things change now. Of course, Jackson moving up high, he's definitely going to have to get a little bit higher than 49 laps, it looks like, to be able to compete. But we'll have to wait and see. About a minute and 40 seconds. We'll be right back with you. All right, here we go. 4 red lights going to drop out to green, and we're going racing yet again. Minute and 56 seconds left to go. Already starting here off, Jackson in the lead, followed by Glenn Burden with 251, Cassie 238, and T with 227. All right, a minute and 9 seconds left to go. I know I've been back and forth here, folks. Having a couple customers come in and buy our fresh cotton candy. As you can see it right here, or over here, right there, over my shoulder. We got cotton candy we bag up. Way that we do it here at Lanes Raceway is we got a cotton candy machine. We turn it on, warm it up for about 10 minutes, and daily we get out there and we make big old plumes of cotton candy, and I take 4 to 6 big plumes. It just depends on how much we get, and we roll it up on a cone, and then off of the cone we pull it with the bag, not touching the cotton candy, of course, and we put all those big plumes in there, and we fill up the bag to the brim, to the point that I can barely twist the top on it without crushing the cotton candy. And we sell big bags in here, and they're pretty good sized bags, and just $5. And you can get you enough cotton candy. It should last you all day for sure. It's quite a bit of cotton candy in these bags. Not to mention, we sell Subway cookies from Livermore, Kentucky, here at a discounted price. And of course, if you order or get anything from here at Lanes Raceway, day of, you can take the receipt and get 10% off down at Subway here in Livermore, Kentucky. Now, that's only for the location here at Livermore, Kentucky. It's not for every Subway, but nonetheless, we don't actually sell food here that we cook or prepare. It's always prepared or cooked elsewhere, and we just keep it warm here for the day. And like I said, you know, you can get you some cookies here for a little bit of a discounted price, or you can go down there and get a discount from Subway, and vice versa. If you eat at Subway, you can take their receipt day of and bring it up here and get 10% off of anything here at Lanes Raceway. So it's a give and take thing. A lot of businesses do that, especially in the community, and you know, it just benefits everybody. Get your little Subway, a little slot car racing, a little slot car racing, a little Subway. And of course, we're always open to do stuff like that with businesses in the local area for sure, as we are trying to encourage more and more people to come and visit our little bitty town here in Kentucky. We got Action Jackson himself, also known as Gold Dust, still in the lead with 322 laps. We see Glenn Burden there on purple, turning 54 to Jackson's 56. So Jackson is running quite well, but at the same time, Glenn's increased his average to 50.2, only 3 down from that of Jackson. Cassie, though, definitely putting a show out here, as she's in the upper 40s here on average now, and got one in the 50s there, just 2 laps less than Glenn. So she's definitely bringing the heat here. She continually gets better and better as we progress through this series, and I think she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Probably next series, we're going to start seeing her really battle it out here for the upper 3 positions. So here in about a minute and 40 seconds, we'll be right back with you.
You are now in the presence of a king. You are now in the presence of a You are now in the presence of a king.
All right, 13 seconds left to go. And I'll tell you what, I've had some of the cotton candy. So we got 3 flavors currently, but I'm thinking about stepping our game up here at Lane's Raceway when it comes to the cotton candy. Of course, I'm always trying to step my game up on something here. Of course, we've been stepping our game up when it comes to VR here as of late, pinball, and racing. Now with more competitions you can do, top speed, top lap challenges here, and all kinds of other stuff here at Lane's Raceway. But when it comes to cotton candy, we got 3 flavors. We got grape, we got strawberry, and we got blue raspberry. But I'm wanting to get more flavors. I seen it had like a banana flavor that's kind of caught my eye. And it's kind of the same way as with our ices. Now, as the season goes on, it gets cold outside. There's not many people that are going to be wanting ices. Cotton candy is more of a warm type, fall, winterish type snack for sure. When it comes to ices, people majority of the times want those during the summertime. But we still sell them all year round. So if you wanted an icy, we still sell the ices, all the different flavors and everything here. And they're a big hit too. But yeah, I want to get some more cotton candy flavors, mainly for the reason of how cool our bags are. They're so clear and everything. I want multiple colored plumes of cotton candy in the bags, just as a color thing for the eyes. Like when you walk in, it kind of gives you that fall carnival feel. And when you walk in, you see the different colors of cotton candy hanging on the wall. Takes me back to being a kid. And if you know anything about this place, it's just like trying to relive my childhood, really, just being a kid again. And I think that's why it does so well in the community for older folk and people around my age. Is simply because, they remember having those good times back in the 90s and stuff before cell phones were a big thing and everybody's face was head down in them for hours on end. And still do to this day. But, when we was kids, that stuff didn't exist. It was bicycles, skateboards, going to the fair. Of course, back then, kids could do the coin pushers, which I thought was crazy. Because now you got to be like 18. I don't even think you can even have them in Kentucky now. But, when we were kids, you could. Like, they had coin pushers they'd bring to the fair, and we would all do the coin pushers and throw the coins in, trying to get coins. And it was just kind of like warm incandescent lights. Everything was incandescent light. There was no LEDs or anything like that. It was all yellow, warm lights. And I don't know. I think about it sometimes and how much I miss it. How much I just miss being a kid like that, kind of carefree, running our bikes. I remember one time me and my brother and Brian Thacker, we got a wild hair in us one day. And we was riding bicycles. This kind of takes me back. It's like a week before the fair, and we were all excited about that, of course. We all went to Boy Scouts together. And I'll never forget, like, we were hot because it was like July or something. It was really extremely hot outside. And none of us had a swimming pool, but we were to that point that we were cooking, trying to get around 120 degrees, it felt like outside. And we all just decided that, hey, let's just go to the river. And I'll never forget, my brother's like, I wonder what'll happen if I just drive my bike as hard as I can into the river. And I was like trying to convince him not to do it because I was scared he was going to drown and everything, because there was a lot of people at that time that were drowning in the river. And my brother just went as hard as he could, dude, off that hill. And I mean, he slammed that dude right into the water, and he went over the handlebars, busted his chin on it. Gets up, he's bleeding like underneath his lip, and he is cracking up. For the rest of that day, we did nothing but run our bikes off down the boat ramp right into that river and had a blast. Now, of course, we did figure out how not to get, hit by the handlebars, but evidently that water stops you pretty dadgum good whenever you're coming off that hill. You wouldn't think it would stop you like it does, but it does. Jackson out in the lead, 357 total laps, average of 51. We got Glenn Burden dropping back down to the 40s. He's at 48.9 now, and we can see he only was able to turn 41 laps there on black. I think Jackson said he was suffering from a little bit of an issue there on his car, so he might be bent a little bit. As you can see, chat is live here on YouTube if you want to chat. But yeah, what a beautiful day we got today. Like, you know, I'm just sitting here kind of having like story days and stuff like that. But like on a day like today with all the leaves and stuff just freshly falling off the trees, not really a wet ground in sight, kind of nice and dry and a decently warm day. I remember back in the day what we would do is we'd rake up a kiloton of leaves and we would start big old fires. Of course, we were firebugs, folks, back in the day, but we'd start them fires and we would cook hot dogs and stuff on them. Looks like I got about 1 minute before they start back racing. Looks like Glenn Burden over there looking at some pinball action. But yeah, I'll tell you what though, we had such a good time as a kid. I just, you know, sometimes I wake up and I think, you know, how much better this place would be if a good old EMP pulse just was to go up from the sun and just wipe out all the electronics. You know, it definitely make things a lot more difficult, but at the same time, you know, it could get a lot more simpler. People would definitely, I think, benefit from it, actually. But some of that stuff's still alive today. A lot of analog type stuff here. Like I said, at Lane's Raceway, we play pinball and stuff in here. This stuff is tied to the internet, but it's not like video games for sure. A lot of social type stuff going on here. Just everybody hanging out, being with each other. Post COVID, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it. I guess it's still out there, but it doesn't really affect me much. 4 red lights are dropping out to green. We're going back racing. Don't forget, later on today, right after this race, we'll be having Indy on the road. Of course, everything on the road course today. Indy on the road at 3. Ohio Valley Lawn Care Dirt on Oval at 5. And then we're going to round that baby up with the Cup Series on the Oval at 7. And if we have time, we'll do another GRC race. Of course, you don't see Weston and you don't see Carson here. Of course, Carson having a little bit of an issue as of late, as he had surgery on his knee. So definitely remember him in your prayers as he's getting over that. The other day, he come in here fresh from the hospital just on Thursday to race a race. And we got him in a wheelchair out here, and he went to racing, but he was not himself, you know, not his chipper, sprier self for sure. I told my uncle, I said, man, he looks like a 30-year-old man over there. He was so calm. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he actually ended up winning the oval race. So, you know, he was doing quite well for sure. But he was definitely focused in. I will give him that. But we got a minute left to go here, and that lead is shrinking by the moment. Jackson there with 379 on black, only turning 22 laps so far with 56 seconds left to go. He's got to hold it off. Glenn Burden is definitely trying his best to catch him with 29 so far. So let's see, what are we looking at here? 7 laps. If he gets 7 more laps, they might end up on the same lap here, folks. It really just depends on how hard Glenn drives and whether or not Jackson can keep his car on red and not get involved in incidents. But we'll just have to wait and see here. 46 seconds left to go. And like I said, every couple of laps, we are seeing, we got a rider here. Jackson saying he broke out. He was on red. He was feeling pretty confident about that. As actually Cassie got in his lane there. 30 seconds left to go. Within 6 laps now between him and Glenn Burden. So it's a knockout drag out here at the last 24 seconds. But I will say it looks like, just from the median we're seeing here, it looks like Jackson's going to be able to bring this one home with 15 seconds left to go. So that's pretty good for Jackson as he's fought hard. And his whole agenda was to beat Glenn. And it looks like he's going to be able to do that this race here. A lot of hard work. Like I said, he come in Thursday and we worked pretty much all day on that car. So he is excited. As you can tell, he is yelling to the moon right now. And it's good to have him back in high spirits. Past couple weeks, he's been taking a lot of second positions, a lot of thirds. And it's good to be Jackson right now. Back up on top, 50.2 on average. and he was able to turn the most laps today with 58 total laps there on Black Lane. So he's very pleased with himself for sure. Glenn Burton, of course, probably going to go and work on his car and get his up to snuff, because nobody likes to lose against Jackson. Jackson will make it known that he's won for sure. But it's all in good fun, all in good spirits as we go over here to the Oval. My wife, she's going to be getting every one of these guys ready for their picture. All right, Jackson, Glenn, and Cassie, please stand in front of the podium for your picture. She's getting a snapshot of the laps total here, and we'll get that updated for you over the weekend. And, you know, Jackson's in here with his hand out. But, Jackson, you need to be out there getting your picture. You can give me a handshake here in a minute. Nonetheless, folks, I love old Jack Daddy. You guys know that. We're going to work hard on trying to get all these kids as happy as they possibly can when it comes to keeping their cars rolling and keeping them going good. We want them to be able to step up to those next levels. Speaking of that, coming up next, of course, we have the Indy on the road at 3 o'clock, just an hour away. We're starting to see some of our racers come in for that. So definitely come back around 3 o'clock-ish, maybe a little later. Just depends on if everybody's going to be able to get here on time. A lot of times guys give me a call, hey, I'm going to be about 5 or 10 minutes. So we give them the time. We got enough time here. We've noticed just in the past few weeks that we kind of negate between that about 15 minutes or so. So definitely come back and check us out for the Indy coming up next on the Oval at 3 o'clock with breakout, mind you. And we're excited for that. Till then, God bless you. I hope everything goes your way this afternoon. It's a beautiful day. If you're in the neighborhood, come in, get you some Mexican food, or come in here and hang out with us here at Lane's Raceway. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you back here at 3 o'clock for the Indy on the Oval.